everything Honor Among Thieves cast and director have said about a potential sequel. The cast and crew of Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves have weighed in on the possibility of a sequel. A Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves sequel is much deserved after the positive critical reception of Honor Among Thieves. The audience and critics both lauded the movie as a hilarious and timely addition to Dungeons & Dragons and fantasy in general. Indeed, the movie is nearly perfect, with a 91% Rotten Tomatoes score to prove it. However, Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves underperformed at the box office, risking its sequel. Out of all the Dungeons & Dragons movies, Honor Among Thieves was the best, by far, but it struggled against a tough climate. Not only had Hasbro alienated fans in the run-up to the movie's release with money-grabbing moves that would cost fans, but COVID-19 had decimated box office figures ever since 2021. Honor Among Thieves was the first movie to confront the reality of marketing D&D in this climate. Its predecessors were critically panned, but didn't have such a high budget to offset. The movie's talented cast and crew each input into the likelihood of a sequel. Market research should be done. Legendary British actor Hugh Grant signaled the difficulties with Honor Among Thieves with a savvy comment. Grant played Forge Fitzwilliam, epically demarcating the rom-com actor's shift to fantasy with a deliciously heinous villain. Hugh Grant's comments highlighted the harsh reality for a D&D sequel to Honor Among Thieves, which will rely on a strategy smart enough to offset Honor Among Thieves' financial setbacks. While Honor Among Thieves' budget was estimated at roughly $150 million, its profit at the box office was estimated at about $208 million worldwide. It may not have broken even, bearing in mind the movie's expenses. Hugh Grant commented that people just thought, "I don't want to see a film about this game, Vanity Fair." Grant questioned why more market research hadn't been done, indicating the need for a sequel to market itself differently to Honor Among Thieves, addressing gaps in public knowledge about the franchise. An Honor Among Thieves sequel is up in the air. Sophia Lillis, who played the owlbear named Doric in Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, commented on Honor Among Thieves sequel. Speaking to IndieWire, Lillis said of a sequel, "I think it's kind of up in the air." Commenting in August 2023, Lillis' words have since been met with Chris Pine's update, but they remain relevant. Lillis' sentiments of uncertainty have generally been reflected by cast and crew. The Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves screenplay was written by John Francis Daley, Jonathan Goldstein, and Michael Gillio. Lillis confirmed the uncertainty of Honor Among Thieves 2, claiming she did not know if a sequel would happen. She said that she hoped it would, indicating her positivity around reprising her role as Doric. She commented that Honor Among Thieves works well on its own. This optimistic and helpful input reminds fans that Honor Among Thieves' legacy is perfectly impressive even without a sequel. An Honor Among Thieves sequel was never intended. There was never any intention on Honor Among Thieves creators' parts to create a sequel. A sequel is just a bonus that could be on the cards. A co-writer and director of Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, John Francis Daley, stated, "It was never our intention when we came on board this film to make a franchise, Polygon." Daley is clearly telling the truth. Honor Among Thieves had the perfect ending. A sequel would be excellent because Honor Among Thieves represents the perfect direction for D&D movies, but its absence doesn't signify a D&D failure. No sequel is required to complete Honor Among Thieves' story, as corroborated by Sophia Lillis in her comments about the movie. This makes a sequel less likely than if it was always the intention. However, it also makes the lack of a sequel less of a big deal than some make it out to be. A sequel would be excellent because Honor Among Thieves represents the perfect direction for D&D movies, but its absence doesn't signify a D&D failure. Speaking to Polygon, Honor Among Thieves director and co-writer John Francis Daly confirmed the continuing importance of a solid sense of humor in any Honor Among Thieves movie franchise. Although Daly confirmed that a sequel wasn't planned, he made sure to specify that the response to Honor Among Thieves verified all the things we suspected would hit with audiences, and a sequel would allow us to lean into those things. Honor Among Thieves was among the funniest movies of 2023, and a sequel would be sure to replicate that success. Although Honor Among Thieves emerged to a hugely positive critical reception, its box office difficulty may inhibit a sequel, as suggested by various cast and crew. However, as Daly implies, D&D should exploit Honor Among Thieves' best strength going forward. That is, of course, its comedy gold. Honor Among Thieves was among the funniest movies of 2023, and a sequel would be sure to replicate that success. Jonathan Goldstein, who wrote and directed Honor Among Thieves alongside John Francis Daly, confirmed that an owlbear would likely return for an Honor Among Thieves sequel. If Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves honored its hilarious success with a sequel, Sophia Lillis Owlbear would probably be an important feature. Lillis Doric was the first live-action owlbear on screen and raised some controversy. The owlbear was an awesome cinematic feat, and a sequel would be wise to revive it. Some thought that Doric's owlbear wouldn't be allowed to transform the way it did, since it's unusual for druids to shift into monstrosities like owlbears. Speaking to Polygon, Goldstein offered the insight that the owlbear was actually considered a favorite. Goldstein's insider perspective on the movie's stats confirms what was obvious on screen in Honor Among Thieves. The owlbear was an awesome cinematic feat, and a sequel would be wise to revive it. A beholder may crop up in an Honor Among Thieves sequel. Goldstein told Polygon that a beholder may crop up in Dungeons & Dragons' next movie. Since D&D movies appear to be headed firmly in Honor Among Thieves' direction, if they are headed in any direction at all, fans may well be looking at a beholder in an Honor Among Thieves sequel. Should the sequel arise, Goldstein noted he would like to reward long-term fans with this epic fan-favorite monster. The Dungeons & Dragons movie director shared that a lot of people on social media were hungry for a beholder, and which D&D player wouldn't be. This classic Cthulhu-inspired beast has been inspiring D&D games for decades. The creators of Honor Among Thieves have clearly put thought into a sequel and know where to take it. An on-screen beholder is a truly exciting prospect, making an Honor Among Thieves franchise something to work towards. Drist Do'Urden could be in an Honor Among Thieves sequel. Drow Ranger Drist Do'Urden could finally feature in an adaptation if Honor Among Thieves gets a sequel. Speaking with Polygon, John Francis Daly explained the oft-questioned likelihood of Drist's appearance on screen. Excitingly, Daly stated that he's definitely a popular character in the world, and one who could be exciting to explore. Drist was originally intended for Honor Among Thieves. Unfortunately, he was cut and replaced by the character of Senk. D&D had a Drow controversy that stopped adapting Drist, as Honor Among Thieves producer Jeremiah Latcham revealed to Comic Book. Latcham didn't specify the controversy, but probably meant Hasbro's 2020 acknowledgement of some linking Drow to racism. Senk was brilliant, but Drist's appearance in an Honor Among Thieves sequel would be nothing short of triumphant. A sequel would likely use the same characters and add new ones too. Goldstein said that an Honor Among Thieves sequel would likely include the Honor Among Thieves cast. This should come as a huge relief to fans of the first movie, since its adventuring party was its beating heart, and a sequel just wouldn't work with a new adventuring party. Michelle Rodriguez's chemistry with Chris Pine was somehow platonic, romantic, sisterly, brotherly, and so much more. Goldstein elaborated that the good thing about a sequel is you don't have to spend much screen time introducing the party, Polygon. A sequel would be able to dive straight into the action and deliver on an intense plot with minimal exposition. It is great to know that Pine and crew would be welcome back for a sequel, but whether Paramount Pictures could afford them again is another matter entirely. A lot of the movie's budget went on paying its star-studded cast. A sequel needs a lower budget than Honor Among Thieves. Paramount Pictures CEO Brian Robbins shared a valuable glimpse into the commercial reality of a sequel to Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. Chatting with Variety, Robbins vocalized what was evident to observant fans. Honor Among Thieves had been dubiously profitable. Honor Among Thieves' high budget resulted in a spectacular movie, but one that was hard to justify, given its box office performance. Bringing a sequel straight to streaming may be a no-brainer move for a venture that could otherwise be quite risky for Paramount Pictures, Hasbro, or both. With Chris Pine alone reportedly being paid $11.5 million for his role as Elgin, the cast is obviously an expensive aspect of the movie that can't be replaced. However, we've got to figure out a way to make it for less, Robbins said of an Honor Among Thieves sequel, indicating the possibility of fewer visual and practical effects. This doesn't indicate that a sequel would drop in quality at all, with many incredible drama, horror, and fantasy movies being made for less than $1 million. There is a good chance of a sequel. Chris Pine made an optimistic comment on an Honor Among Thieves sequel at AC's Superhero Comic Con 2024. Discussing the future of the Dungeons & Dragons movies in the summer of 2024, Pine provided one of the most recent updates on an Honor Among Thieves sequel. He replied absolutely to a question about whether or not he would reprise his role as Elgin, so this, at least, seems certain. Pine was outstanding as the leading man of Honor Among Thieves, so his participation in a sequel is essential. Additionally, Pine was hopeful of a sequel happening before too long. Pine said, "I think there's a really good chance that we'll make another one, giving fans everywhere hope. Paramount was considering a TV show, but it got canceled, leading some to believe that Honor Among Thieves' box office difficulty had abruptly stopped D&D's on-screen expansion." However, Pine wisely asserted of an Honor Among Thieves sequel that, if they could figure out a financial way to make it work, I think they'll do it. Referring to Hasbro, Pine confirmed that Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves continues only as long as D&D has faith in it.